I'm David Knowles, and this is Ukraine, the latest. Today, we're doing something a little bit different.
This hideous and barbaric venture of Vladimir Putin must end in failure.
Nobody's going to break us. We're strong. We're Ukrainians.
Before the 24th of February, the town of Bucha was known as an attractive suburb northwest of Kyiv. During the early part of the invasion, it was the scene of heavy fighting as Ukrainian and Russian forces battled for control. For weeks, the town was under Russian occupation, and, soon after they were pushed back by the Ukrainian army, horrendous stories of murder, rape, and torture emerged from civilians who had stayed in the town. Katya stayed in Bucha. She survived. Many of the people she met didn't. Here's her story. Well, Katya, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for talking to us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Like what I can tell about myself. I'm originally from Horlivka. It's east of Ukraine. It's like Donbas region. I was living there for 18 years. Just studied at school. I used to go to dancing, like as a regular, normal, original girl, like from Ukraine. Like each of us, I don't know, nothing special. And I always wanted to work for Ukraine, like to do something really important, maybe to go and be a politician, a big one, to make changes in this world, and maybe to sit in the United Nations. And I wanted to move to Kyiv actually because, I wanted to go to the capital, and I just knew that I can get some really nice education there, to meet some interesting people. Like, this just normal, regular stuff in you from a small town, like, and you want to go somewhere else. But I had a big dream, kind of, that I will get some education there and I'll get some level, and then I will go back to Gorlivka and will try to make changes there, because I just saw how things were made in Kyiv. And I truly believe that I can bring this knowledge and this experience into our local culture and initiatives. Yes, but then it was Maidan, the Revolution of Dignity, and Russia occupied territories in Crimea and my own town. So I wasn't able to go back there. I really supported this protest during Maidan. I was there. I was there almost every day, yeah. And I really enjoyed how it was with these people who want to make some changes in the country, etc., etc. So yeah, and that's why, because of my pro-Ukrainian position, I was even in the lists of that people who occupied our territories. So yeah, and I was informed that it's better for me not to go there because I'm on the list, and everyone can understand how it can turn to me in the future.
What very quickly, what would that mean if you were on the list? If you went back, what would have happened?
It means that they knew about my pro-Ukrainian position, about my activities, because we were organizing some information protests. We're posting news about that Horlivka is Ukraine, that we want to be a part of Ukraine, and so on. And they just knew that we are so super active in this position, and they didn't want to see these people on that lands anymore after they occupied them. So yeah, it was super risky to go there. And then my family also moved to Bucha, which is nearby Kyiv. It's northwest from Kyiv. That was, I cannot say good, but better for us. So when everything started in Crimea, we just felt that we will be the next ones, because Russia always had this wishes about Donbas. So we started with my dad, we started to looking for a new apartment, for a new place to live for us. So we had this time, we had enough money to buy a new apartment in Bucha. Yeah, and then we just moved, and you're trying to continue your life. And from that moment, I started my mini career in theater, and then I just worked for 3 years as a radio producer on Radio Aristocrats.
So you're from the east, moved to Kyiv, moved to Bucha eventually. Tell us about the start of the war. What happened and how did you react?
The one evening before, I was super happy because I was in the process of interviews. So the next day, the 24th of February, I had to sign my offer to a new job. And I just moved to a new apartment. And that was a situation when I kind of tried to restart my life from the very new page, something like that. Of course, we heard some news, we followed them. And that's why I had my backpack prepared in advance, just in case. And so also we had a family meeting with our parents and my sister months before the 24th. So we discussed what we would do if something happened. And we decided that we have to be together. So we have to go to Bucha in case if the internet connection or mobile connection will be cut. And then just 24th of February, I woke up because my sister was ringing the doorbell. And I just opened my eyes, I took my phone, I saw like 17 missed calls, and I just didn't hear. It was 6 or like 6:30 in the morning, I don't remember. And I just heard her screaming from the door that, Kate, everything is started. And I just understand everything. So I just took my backpack, put my first things that I found, and we just ran to the railway station, trying to reach Bucha in any possible way, because it was already super hard to get there. Like it was a huge traffic all around the city and outside the city, because usually it takes like 30 minutes to go from Kyiv to Bucha. But that day it could take like 2 or 3 hours even. Yeah, so we went there, and then we met our parents in Bucha, and then everything started there.
So you go back to Bucha, your family is together again. What did you do then? This is around the time you find the shelter, and this is the diary, the very eloquent and very moving diary of your life in that shelter that you've written. Tell us about how that started. What were the first few days with your family in Bucha like?
Like just after 1 hour, I guess, we saw these helicopters and this smoke over the airport, like in Hostomel, and it was like really it's not super close to our apartment, but we still could see it from our window, and these fighters were flying over our building. So we just understood that we need to go somewhere. We cannot stay in apartment anymore, and we live on the 4th floor. So it was dangerous, and it was super stressful because you cannot understand what's going on, and you cannot understand what is better, trying to go escape from the city exactly that moment, because it's a huge traffic. Like you can just see the cars which are just staying on the road, and almost doesn't move. So our dad told us that it's better to stay in a town. Maybe it's not safe there. But I was like super serious about all the situation. So I told them that now we have to go and find a shelter. We cannot stay in an apartment. So we spent like 1 hour maybe with my dad. So we're just riding around the town and searching for any possible shelters. Yeah, but the challenge already started in the town by that time. So we tried to be super fast, and we just found that one where we then stay there. I kind of said that it was a shelter. It was just a regular basement, because we don't have this like special shelters, and it was like 15 minutes by walk from our house, and approximately 7 minutes by car. So we just entered the shelter with my family, and yeah, we packed things. Of course, I told to my parents that we need to pack everything we could need there, like flashlights, I don't know, knives, clothes, and we just went there, and we stayed there almost because my dad some nights he spent in an apartment. He didn't want to stay there. He felt super stressed, and it was super painful for him, because it already happened. We already had to escape once, so we left our apartment in Horlivka, and we just restarted our new life in Bucha, and he didn't want to leave the place.
And in the shelter, the war is going on all around you at this point. What can you hear? What's the atmosphere like? Can you hear the shells going off overhead?
Yes. We could hear all of that, but it was super hard to understand what's actually going on, because it was super loud, and you really don't want to go outside, or you don't really want even to go to the first floor or something. You just sit in the basement. And sometimes we went out like to the first floor, but then other guys started to scream something like, oh, they started the shellings, and so everyone had to go back downstairs. It was loud almost every time. And I think that we had like maybe couple of hours of silence each day, but not more. Like it's always you can hear something, and sometimes it's closer, sometimes it's some like more far away, and sometimes it's super loud, sometimes it's just down. But you don't want to take a risk, because we had some situations when, for example, we just wanted to go out and like have a break and to smoke, for example, and you just went out and the shelling started to be louder and closer, so everyone just ran back. So we just stayed there, and the atmosphere was different, yeah, because lots of children, old people, cats, dogs, and someone was crying, someone was in panic, someone was joking and trying to calm down everyone. And of course, during the most horrific hours, everyone was praying. I mean, I'm not sure if everyone who was really believe in God, some kind of powers, I don't know, but everyone was praying because it was super scary.
Can you tell us a little bit about the people in there? Who you spent a lot of time with these people now. What were their stories? Did you talk much? Did you help each other? And how did you do that?
They helped each other a lot. Like, of course, for the first days, you are just super suspicious. You're not communicating too much with anyone. But then somehow you have to communicate to have some emotional support or to get any other help. Someone had, for example, medicines that you need, or someone had more food, and that's it. There were like different people. The girl who just slept nearby to us, she was alone, and for example, she used to work as she worked in the kindergarten. And other family, for example, it was a woman who worked in a shop, and she had 6 or 7 children with her, something like that, different ages. And we helped each other. Like we gathered together when we had to cook some food after Russians bombed the supermarket, the Novus. So the mayor gave us a permission so everyone could go just and took everything we needed to. Because no one knows how much time we should spend there, like maybe 2 weeks or maybe 1 month or something. So we just grabbed all the food from the supermarket just to have it. So everyone then tried to be together to cook all of this. The one story that I didn't wrote about in my diary, which I published, because we met a guy in a shelter. I think he was 50 years old. He was a bit like messed up. I think that he had some kind of mental issue, and no one really wanted to communicate with him because somehow he looked like a homeless guy. But then my mom was always asking him if he needs something, if he wants some more food or something like that. And we just started to communicate with him, and we found out that he is from Hostomel and that he went and he came to the shelter by foot from Hostomel. And he was always worrying about his relatives who stayed there in Hostomel. And we tried to call to administration or something just to get any information about his relatives, but it didn't work, of course, because there wasn't any connection with Hostomel or other cities. So we tried to be together, and then we found the new clothes for him. And sometimes he asks us, can you just sit, please, just nearby, and just can we have a conversation about something? And I really wanted to help him. And when we escaped with my sister, I was always thinking about him, like, because we didn't have any even time to say goodbye to everyone. We just packed and we just ran away. And I was worrying about him. But then after Bucha was already like occupied, when it was free, we just found out that one of his relatives, she was looking for him, and she found him in a shelter. So they met, and this is a story with a happy end. And
that's a very happy ending, yeah. Can I ask, you mentioned in the shelter there are lots of children. How did they react to the confinement, and how did you as a community sort of help them?
Of course, they were the first one who get any food. Like, even sometimes we even had this possibility to eat some candies or something from the store when someone took some. I think that they didn't understand what's going on, and they were playing. I remember that their parents, they tried to explain them, in a game, in the way of the game. For example, that we have to hide now. We have to go to the basement because it is a monster. So we have to do so. Of course, some of them understood what's going on. But if we are talking about children who like 3, 4 years old or 5 years old, sometimes it was super hard to explain to them and not to scare them too much. So it was just kind of a game. They had these albums where they were drawing these pictures to distract themselves. They were playing the games, and there were some little children, just babies. Of course, they were crying at night, and it was super scary situation because, for example, everyone knows that we have to be super silent. Of course, we turned off the lights just in case. Even if we were in the basement, we turned off the lights because there are some, these points, like this hole, so you can get the fresh air from the outside. Yeah. So even at night, so no one could even see that someone is there downstairs, and everyone had to be super silent, and they started to cry at night, and everyone was super stressed about it, that please calm down the children because we can all die because they are screaming and we have to be silent. We just like communicate in a normal way. Sometimes they played games with us, but I cannot say that we were super like sociable at times, because for the first days you have this energy because of the adrenaline, but after a couple of days you feel just super frustrated. You don't want to talk to anyone. You just, okay, I'm talking about myself. It was super hard for me to communicate, even with my mom and sister.
And I was going to ask, so the rest of your family, how did they deal with this? And then a connected question. I understand from your diary, and you can hear me just opening it, that you didn't bring your cat into the shelter.
No, we didn't bring it.
Can you tell us how did you keep her safe? What happened there?
Yeah, we decided that it will be better for her to stay at home because she's super shy and she afraid of everything. And even when, like, during the normal times, my friends came to our apartment, she was hiding under the bed. So she's really afraid of people. So we decided to leave her there because it could be a huge stress for her to be in the shelter with lots of people, with dogs and cats and stuff. And the first night our dad was with us in a shelter, but then he decided to go and to stay in an apartment because he also wanted to be with our cat, so not to leave her alone. And it was just more convenient for him. He didn't want to sleep in the basement. On the second day, I had this possibility to go to the shop. It was the only one which still worked. So the first thing we had to buy, it was the food for our cat. And of course, the situation when Dad called us and told that our cat's out of the litter, so we need to buy some sand for her toilet. It's like, now it sounds super like, what? It's super dangerous outside, and we are just running around to the shop just to buy some sand to fill the toilet of our cat. Like, people go crazy in this situation. You just do some crazy stuff. And like about my family, my mom, dad, they were under stress, and we always were speaking about, like, maybe we can try to escape, maybe we can try to evacuate. But we heard these rumors and understood from all the passes they were already blocked. The one way to Kyiv, like the bridge was bombed, like in purpose, not to let their forces to go to Kyiv. All exits from the town were just blocked, so we couldn't do that. So, yeah.
The world obviously got to know the name of Bucha from the early fighting, and then the massacres and the war crimes that were committed there. You were in the basement. How much of this did you hear? Were these part of the rumours that reached you every night? Because you were incredibly close to it. I mean, I'm curious as to how much you knew.
I cannot say that we knew too much. Like, we almost didn't have any official information, of course. But for the first days, it was like heavy shelling. You could hear it. So then they changed to this automatical shots. You can just hear that it's not tanks, it's not artillery, it's just something, that you can carry in your hands. And we had this Terobrona, we call it. These groups of people, of guys who try to stay together. So they had some weapons and they were like searching around and trying to understand what is the situation around the town. And then if they had any possibility, they provided us with the information. They went just to the shelter and told the people what's going on. This way, we just realized that something is going on, like that it's super dangerous to go outside. And they told us that you cannot go outside and please don't leave the shelter, don't go far away. And of course, we could hear this, again, these automats. And it was prohibited to go to the toilet. The toilet was on the first floor. So everyone just told us, so please, they're super close. And we had windows on the first floor. So don't go close to the windows. Try to stay in the basement because they're somewhere nearby and you can hear it, just stay there. And another source of information was when we still had this mobile connection and internet connection. Of course, we were already chatting with our friends all around, and my sister with her classmates, because she finished school in Bucha, so she had more friends from Bucha than me because I was living in Kyiv before. Yeah, they told her the stories like that. For example, someone just told her that we were riding the car and they started to shell in the car and they just let us go. But then, for example, it was a situation when the car just rides and then they stop you and then they are pretending that they are letting you go, but then they start to shoot from the back of the car. And some like friend of my sister, like she was driving a car without even like this, without wheels, like how to say, like shina, not the wheels, but this.
Tires.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So it was all around, just private messages, chats, and someone saw something from their windows, for example. Sometimes our father told us that I can see them. The Russians were opening the houses and apartments. They changed the clothes. So that was why it was super dangerous. Even like
sorry, very quickly. When you say they changed their clothes, so are you saying that they saw Russian soldiers not in military uniform but wearing something else, or they're changing?
Yeah, firstly they were of course in the uniform, but then that was a situation when they were just opened the random apartments and houses, like invaded them. And they stole a lot of things, you know the story. They stole everything. They ruined the furniture and stuff. And they just tried to find any other clothes and just to change, to pretend that they are locals, to understand the situation in the town, what is happening all around. And once we managed to run to go home just to take a shower, because it was already like 3 days without shower or something like that. And when we were on our way back to the shelter, it was super scary because we're trying to run and looking around what's going on. We saw just random guys, and we don't know if they are ours or not ours because they're just in the civilians' clothes, not in the uniform. And they started to run in our direction, and of course we were super scared, so we had to climb over the fence just to make this distance between us bigger. And we ran to the shelter and didn't want to go out again. You never know.
How long in total did you spend in that shelter?
9 days, I guess. Yeah, it was. The ninth day was the day of our evacuation, I guess. Yeah, from Bucha.
Well, let's talk about the evacuation then. You got out. How did that happen?
We just saw the news that one day it was an evacuation train from Irpin, which is it's a closest city to Bucha, and we started to think about it. So maybe we should try to do it tomorrow if there will be any evacuation again. Still, it was super scary. I cannot even explain how, because when you're in a shelter, you have somehow this feeling that you are like, I'm in the house, I'm protected. But when you think about evacuation and going out from the shelter, you don't know the roads, you don't know the situation all around you. What if connection will be lost or something like that? And if the evacuation itself will be successful, because we heard a lot of stories where the Russians started just to shoot people during the evacuation even. But then the next day, when we found out that it will be the next evacuation from Irpin, we decided to try. We decided to take this chance because, of course, yeah, it's super scary, but it's better to be shot than to be raped by occupier. It's true. It took near like 25, 30 minutes by car, I guess, to go from Bucha to Irpin. First thing we were thinking to go by walk, but our dad told us that no, I want to drive, I want to give you a ride. So we arrived to the Irpin railway station with my sister. Mom stayed in the shelter. Of course, my dad couldn't use it because he's a man, so it was possible only for women and for children. And we are staying on the platform for almost 3 hours because the train was delayed. There were a lot of people, and at this time, the shelling of Irpin also has started by that time. And it was terrifying just to stay on the open space without any cover over your head when you hear all these explosions. And we just praying and hoping that it will come, and then finally it was there. And during the time, the guys from the Red Cross and our soldiers, they were like kind of defending us. They were all around us. They tried to calm us down and saying that everything is gonna be okay. Please just wait, be patient. Everything will be nice. We just found out that at the same time, when we were on our way from Bucha to Irpin by car, our dad just decided to choose another direction. It was like there are two roads to Irpin from Bucha, like 2 or 3 of them. The one is the main one, like it's just the easiest one to get. But my dad, I don't know why, he just randomly decided to go to another direction. He chose another way, and then we just found out that on the first road that we didn't choose. Exactly that time, the execution of people will happen. Like exactly that time when we were driving the car from our shelter to Irpin. So it was just a question of luckiness.
I've just got two more questions about the shelter. One is, can you tell us about Vlad? You describe him as your shelter hero. Who was he? What did he do?
I cannot say that I really know him good. I mean, his personality and stuff. They were just our friends. He, his wife, and her mom. They were our shelter friends because we played cards together. They helped us with some hot water, and they lived closer to the shelter than we are. So they had this possibility sometimes to rent to their home to charge some phones or charge power banks, can help us. And we just accidentally started to provide a lot of time together. And he was super responsible. When everyone was under the panic, he was almost the only one who tried to calm us down and explain us the situation. Of course, he didn't know lots of things. He just tried to calm everyone down. But sometimes he went out of the shelter, and he was like walking around and tried to get any information. He was helping a lot to children, and he always was the first one who wanted to help. And everyone was asking him if something is going on. Everyone was, "Hey Vlad, what's going on? Hey Vlad, when will we win? When will be our victory?" And that's it. And he was so patient, and he tried to answer all the questions, even if he didn't know any answers. Yeah, and then just the day we escaped from my sister, the next day he went out to go to Stikolka. It's a district in Bucha, to help some people. I don't know what was the main purpose of that, but he wanted to help someone, and then he just disappeared. And my mom didn't want to tell us for a while, but then just told us that he was missing for more than 1 month, and then his body was identified when. It's a super sad situation. We didn't want to believe. We also tried to help to find him. We were publishing his pictures in the chats and the social media. Maybe someone saw him. We had this hope that maybe he was taken as a hostage, but unfortunately, like lots of good people died there at times.
Just got 2 more questions for you. Thank you so much for your time. You end your diary talking about a bottle of beer which you're going to take back to Bucha and open when victory comes. Can you tell us about this beer? Where did you get it, and what's the symbolism for you?
I don't know. It was just when you're in a super stressful situation and you almost don't have any reasons to smile, And when you're you're under panic, really. It was a situation when I was just staying on the railway station in Irpin, and I was shaking, and I was trying to attract attention from my sister, Natasha, please help me. And she was irritated. I was like, Kate, please leave me alone. I need some, everyone faces the stress in different ways. So I was super, and my sister was super calm. And then I just realized that I need some water. I need some water because I feel super bad. And I asked her, Natasha, please, maybe we have any water with us. And she told me like, no. And that was just, it came to my mind that, oh my gosh, we don't have a water, but we have a bottle of beer. So that was a moment which made me smile. So then we decided that we'll open this bottle of beer, which we left for a rainy day. Like, how it's even possible to think about rainy days when you are already in the middle of the hell? I don't know, but still we had these thoughts in our head that it can be even worse. So we decided that we can open it when we will be safe in the west of Ukraine. But then we decided that we'll open it in Poland, and then we decided no, we have to go to exactly the same place, to the shelter, and then we can open it there because yeah. I just forgot about it, that I had this bottle of beer in my backpack.
What kind of beer is it?
I don't remember the name. Curse. I don't remember. It's just not some usual one.
So, finally, I mean, let's catch you up. Where are you? Where are you now? Where are the rest of your family? You're out. You're in Warsaw. Could you tell us your story up to the present?
Now I'm in Warsaw for almost 4 months, I guess. Something like that. And I signed that offer from that company, and I'm super happy about it. And for that, they really cared about me and about all the other team members they had. I just received that offer when I was already in Warsaw, and I found out that the company opens will rent an office in Warsaw. So I decided that I'm gonna stay in Warsaw because I need to work from office. I cannot work remotely. It makes me feel bad. And now I'm a part of a global edtech startup with Ukrainian roots, Headway, and I'm super glad that I can work for Ukrainian company because I still can pay taxes to Ukraine, and we're trying to donate as much money as we can, and company hires new people, more Ukrainians, and we also trying just to do everything we can to describe the situation in Ukraine, because our audience is foreigners from different countries. Like, in this way, I'm glad, and I have nothing to complain about, because it's the first thing each Ukrainian want to do abroad is to find a job. Really, because we don't want just to be paid from the government or something. We want to work, we want to earn money, so we can donate this money to help our Ukrainian army, to help other institutions and so on. My parents came back to Bucha. They returned to Bucha. They are trying to continue their life as they can. Of course, there are no safe space in Ukraine now, but you cannot just make your life to turn it on pause or something like that. You just need to do something, not to go crazy. And my sister also, it was super hard for her to be here, so she wanted to go back to Kyiv, so she went. And she studies medicines, and she hopes that maybe one day she can help others. Of course, I also want to go back to Kyiv so bad, but I'm just afraid of the situation that I will need to leave it one more time, to escape it one more time. So I just need more time. And that's why I'm just staying here. Yeah, and thanks to my local Polish friends who helped me, and thanks to everyone who helped me. And thanks for reaching me out. And this diary story, this was the thing that helped me not to go mad during these days in the shelter, because you're just trying to imagine that it's not for real, that you're just a hero of some story or some novel, and you just describe the things, and because it's really hard to understand that it's going on, people are dying, and someone just thinks that they can kill you and they have a right for it. And yeah, then I just wanted to share it to explain people from abroad that we are just a normal, regular people. We are not statistic. We are alive. We had our own lives. We are not Nazis. We are not like we just normal people, and we love our country and wanted it to be independent and cool and like as any other citizens want to.
Katya, is there anything we haven't spoken about, anything that I haven't asked you that you want to say or you think our listeners should know?
I think that I just all I can say now is just asking for more help to Ukraine. Yes, for everyone who listens this, please check the information you get and try to not to believe the Russian propaganda. Try to check to make this fact checking of everything. I was super offended with this news about that it wasn't real. Like, you know, what happened to Bucha, because when I read these comments about it was just like there were some actors and stuff, it's like you are telling me this like when we were there, and it's a scary, terrifying thing. We have to check the information, and huge thanks to our defenders and to our armed forces. They are just incredible guys and girls. Yeah, just share information, try to help Ukraine, and don't believe Russian propaganda. Ukraine will win.
Ukraine the Latest is an original podcast from The Telegraph. To stay on top of all of our Ukraine news, analysis and dispatches from the ground, subscribe to The Telegraph. You can get your first 30 days completely free at telegraph.co.uk/audio. You can listen to this conversation live at 1 p.m. each weekday on Twitter Spaces. Follow The Telegraph on Twitter so you don't miss it. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider following Ukraine the Latest on your preferred podcast app and leave a review, as it helps others find the show. You can also get in touch directly with us by emailing podcasts@telegraph.co.uk. We do read every message. Ukraine the Latest is produced by Louisa Wells and Giles Gear,